everyone, welcome to Knitting with Linda, and I think we are on tutorial number 4, and today we are going to be doing the knit one purl one rib or cuff, whatever you call it. I call it the rib because it's the ribbing, which usually starts on a sweater, on the cuffs, around the neckline. So I'm going to teach you how to do that, and then I'm going to also teach you how to cast off or bind off. So I'm going to show you how to cast off today, and and then guys, the next tutorial I'm going to show you how to measure. And so we're going to be measuring my doll Ava. Excuse me. So we're going to be measuring Ava, and the way that we measure Ava will also be the way that you measure for yourself, so it's dual purpose, and I hope it helps you. So let's turn you to overhead and let us make a start. Okay guys, so now you've done your 20 rows of stocking stitch. You've added your 2 stitch markers at the end of each row, and now we're moving on to the knit one purl one. I've already done 18 rows, and I want you to do 20 rows just for practice, but I've done my 18, and you can tell I've done 18 because if you open it up you can see the nubs in between, and I've done 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18. So I've got 2 more rows to do, and I'm going to show you how to start the beginning of each row, your odd row and your even row. So yeah, and then I'm going to show you how to cast off, and then that's the end of that. What I wanted to show you, I showed you these stitches because they're important for going forward to make our dolls clothes or baby clothes. They will fit a baby. So we're going to start with a knit one stitch, yarn forward, purl 1 stitch, yarn to the back, knit 1 stitch. I'll just move this down. There we go. So we've knitted that stitch, so I need to bring the yarn to the front and purl the stitch. Back, knit, front, purl, back, knit, front, purl. And if you just keep that in your mind, back, front, purl, back, knit, front, purl, back, knit, front, purl, back, knit, and you just continue doing that until the end of, you get to the last stitch, which is a purl stitch, because we've got 40 stitches on this sample that we're doing, that we're making, and you can you know you're in the right direction, and you can see how nice, what a lovely effect that gives. So let's get to the end. Purl, back, knit, front, purl, back, knit, front, purl, back, knit, front, purl, and just continue until you've done all the stitches on that row. So you've transferred all your stitches from your left hand needle to your right hand needle, and there we go, purl stitch. Now because we've got an even number of stitches, you will always start with a knit row, a knit stitch, and you will always end with a purl stitch. and that goes for the both sides. So I'm on to my last row, which is, I want you to do 20 rows of knit one, purl one, the rib stitch. So again, yarn to the back, knit your first stitch, then you to the front, purl your stitch, to the back, knit your stitch, to the front, purl your stitch, back, knit, front, purl, back, knit, front, purl. And you just continue doing that until you finish this row. And once you've done your 20 rows, I will then show you how to cast off, because you are going to need to know how to cast off. And while we are making our baby slash doll clothes, I will be showing you how to increase, how to decrease, and shaping. So I'm really excited. Ava, my doll, is excited as well, because she's going to get some new clothes, new knickers and vests, and she's going to get new dress, a new cardigan, a new sweater. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So as I said, knit to yarn to the back, purl, yarn to the front, knit, yarn to the back, yarn to the front for the purl stitch, yarn to the back for the knit stitch, yarn to the front for the purl stitch, and there we go. I have done my 20 rows. So that's so please do your 20 rows, because you'll get into a kind of rhythm on doing back, front, back, front, back, front, you know, as you do in the ribbing, and that. So we are going to cast off knitwise. So that means that you're going to cast off every stitch is knitted. So what you need to do is you need to knit 2 stitches. So you knit 1, you knit 2, and then you put your left hand needle through the first stitch. So we've got 1, 2. This is stitch number 1, this is stitch number 2. You're going to put your left hand needle through that stitch and hook it over. So you've got 1 stitch left on. Then you're going to knit another stitch, and the first stitch that was left on, you're going to put your left hand needle through and scoop it over the second stitch. So knit this stitch, you've got 2 stitches on your needle. Put your left hand needle through the first stitch and scoop it over the second stitch. So knit, left hand needle through the first stitch and scoop it over the second stitch, and you can see how you've got a really nice V's. So knit, you've got 2 stitches on your needle. Put your left hand needle through the first stitch, scoop it over, knit, scoop first stitch over, and you always end up with 1 stitch left on your needle. Knit, scoop the first stitch over, knit, scoop that first stitch over. So you're knitting 1, and so you've got 2 stitches on your needle, and then you scoop in the first stitch over the second stitch, and that's how you cast off. And again, knit, scoop, knit, scoop, knit, scoop. So It sounds like I'm dishing up ice cream, doesn't it? Scoop. We'll have a lot of scoops of ice cream. So knit. You've got 2 stitches on your needle. You put your left hand needle through the first stitch and scoop it over. Knit and scoop. Knit and scoop. Knit and scoop. And you just continue doing that right to the end, and it gives you a nice finish off. So there we go. Scoop, knit, scoop the first stitch over, knit, scoop the first stitch over the second stitch, knit, scoop the first stitch over the second stitch, knit, scoop the first stitch over the second stitch, and you're just going to continue doing that. Scoop, knit, scoop, knit, scoop, right to the very end. It's quite therapeutic actually, and it's kind of nice because you've come to the end of a project and you think, whew, 1 piece down, only 4 more to go. Scoop, knit, scoop, knit, scoop, knit, scoop, knit, scoop, knit, scoop, and you've got 1 stitch left on your needle. Sorry about that, I've dropped my needle. So you've got 1 stitch left. Okay, bring it up so it's a loop, and then leaving a fairly long tail, cut your yarn off and bring it through the loop and then fasten off. And that is your sample. So you've done 20 rows of knit, 20 rows of purl, 20 rows of knit 1, purl 1, knit 1 row, purl 1 row. You've done your stocking stitch, and now you've done 20 rows of your knit 1, purl 1, your rib, and then we've cast off. And as you can see, the cast off, doesn't that look fabulous? So guys, that is the end of the basics that I wanted to teach you before we go on to measuring our doll to make wearables. And so on your next lesson, I want you to have a piece of plain paper, a pen and a pencil, and your doll. If you haven't got a doll, you can write out the measurements that I've got, and we'll, you can draw. We'll go through all that anyway. So that's all from me for today. Thank you so much, guys, for, let me just bring that out. There we go. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed teaching you, I really do. And as I always say, guys, watch the tutorial first, then do your sample, okay? I feel it's really important, and then you've got a visual then, so when you're doing making, knitting or purling or whatever stitch you're at, then you've got a visual in your mind of, and you've got my voice and you know what I'm saying, and I hope that really helps. Take care, stay safe, but more importantly, guys, be kind to you, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.